Thank you, Bob, especially for being on time, but I really appreciate the outreach because we would like to see more from the region apply for new GTLDs. Next, we'll get a presentation on Afralo, and this will be done by Aziz Hilali. Please, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I will speak in French. Please, for who don't speak French, you can take headphone here. Thank you.
I am here to talk about what we are doing as activity at the level of Afralo, which is Africa at Large, which is the organization representing the community, African community of the users, African users of Internet. It's a community which works for a more open and secure Internet. Our organization works actively within ICANN to ensure that Africa will be represented and that its voice be heard within the decision makers, authorities of ICANN. In general, our work consists in having the follow-up and contribute in an efficient way for the public consultations, and which are open for ALAC. For those who are not familiar with that term, ALAC, to prepare comments. It consists also in promoting and in upgrading the level of African participation in the discussions on Internet governance, be it institutions or organized structures or simply individuals. I have added 2 slides. So for those who are not familiar of the ICANN structure, what you're doing at LAC, which you're seeing, it's a consultative committee which represents the users throughout the world. It has a permanent role within ICANN. It consists in advising and giving advice for policies and taking part in the responsibility mechanism of ICANN. Where you could see on the next slide what you call RALO, which are the regional at large, which are regional organizations within ATLAC. There are 5. There is a RALO, for example, for Europe, APARALO for Asia Pacific, and AFRALO for African ATLAC. So it is ATLAC which is responsible to certify the candidates. You've got the ALS, which are organizations which are autonomous, independent, and which have the objective of representing the voices of the users of our region in the whole world. So ALS offers a voice so that each user, individual user, can participate to all the questions which are debated within ICANN. And each RALO or ALO, which is ATLAC, in fact, which gives the certification for any candidates of any groups interested in becoming a structure at large, once all the criteria has been established and respected. Here is a little how ATLAC is organized. You have the 5 regions. We have the ALS, the individuals, and each RALO is represented by 3 members, so there are 15 in all. 2 which are elected, and one chosen, which represents RALO within ALAC, and participation within the decision-making, which ALAC chooses 1 member of ALAC to be to sit with ICANN. Here's a little bit how it is. Our ALS are spread out. There are 37 in Africa. There's ISOC Rwanda, which has has been certified yesterday. So we have 25 countries which are represented of the 54 sovereign states of Africa. ALS represents usually NGOs. They represent chapters of ISOC or associations which represents the local users. So these actions are usually translated in training of youth training or in zones which are not well represented. So to summarize, they are working on the human development, and to become a ALS, you just have to fill out a sheet online. So I asked countries which are not yet represented that they join us. But the more we are, the more we can have our voice heard. Here's a little bit quickly our activities. One of the main activities which we have been leading since 2009. It's to reinforce capacity building. We are the one which is more active within that field, either by in the presence of all the representatives or in a virtual training that is to reinforce our capacity. So it's not only to sensitize, create awareness within the ALS, but to work more on the questions which are being talked about, so to ensure more efficiency of Africa through our end users. Our ambition is to extend this to our work groups of ICANN, and our ALS are very active, and our actions in general are important and efficient for the follow-up and contribution in the public consultations, which are usually open to the public. We also have MOU between Afrinic and Afralo, in which we have signed a cooperation agreement to reinforce our cooperation and joint capacities, and also to have events, common events with same interests. We also have since 2010 the only RALO which is able to reunite all the African communities within ICANN. We usually meet up to be able to discuss about a current theme. The last one we did was in Los Angeles concerning the transition of ILA, and it always ends by a joint declaration which is adopted by the African community which participates at ICANN. We discuss about these declarations, and also about the concerns the African mailing. Till up to now, we have contributed to 12 declarations, which have in general been put up to the ICANN board or other organizations which are concerned by that theme. Our permanent activities each month, at the beginning of each month, we have a meeting, a teleconference for all the ALS so that they can voice their opinions. And we also have an AFRALO showcase every time there's an ICANN meeting on African soil. The next one will be in Marrakesh at the beginning of 2016. We participate also actively at the open public consultations where ALAC prepares documentaries, and we try to keep the opinions of our region. We are present at many within making working groups, and we also have a workshop at IGF We organized 2 workshops in 2012 and 2013, which in general, these are workshops on themes which are related to questions which concerns the African region. We are also active within that IANA Stewardship Transition Coordination Group following the decision, and the vice president of that group is Mohamed Bashir from Sudan, and who is also vice president of AFRALO. And I just also said we had a declaration. We contributed to the bid of this group by the African community present at Los Angeles. To finish, following the results of the selection, you know that often there are openings within ICANN responsibility roles where and the last candidate call, the result was deceiving for our region. There were no Africans. There were candidates, but no Africans had been chosen. That is why we have taken up the initiative to set up a task force, which is presided by Fatima of the Senegal, who is a member of NCOM, which is the constituency where all the candidates go through. The objective is to mobilize the African community on the opportunities and openings, and also to look up for profiles which correspond to these jobs, because the presence of Africans is going to be more important. The following speaker will talk about in a more detailed way of this project. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing AFRALO's activities. I just comment that we want to also see the end users, not just the ALS. So as you get deeper, share with us how the community is expanding. Next, I'd like to invite Tijani Benjima to share with us non-com outreach.
Thank you, Ni. I will continue speaking French, even if I know that Avri will not understand without her. Ah, you have it, okay. Ah, good. So, okay. Donc, avant de faire cette présentation,
before presenting, I would like to continue a little to talk a little bit more about what AFRALO. We are proud to have had excellent recruits last year. We have young people, dynamic people. Now we can say that AFRALO has excellent results, which can contribute to the work started by ALAC and ICANN in general. Also, we have started to review our rules as to accept individuals who don't have any affiliations, and also to define criteria, participant criteria, so as not to have people who come only to travel or to vote, and to modify also certification criteria, because we have noticed that we are not at the moment recruiting the best people. So once these modifications are going to be adopted, AFRALO is going to change. We're also trying to have our activities to evolve towards innovation. You'll see in Marrakesh it's going to be very different to what we did in Nairobi, in Dakar, or in Joburg. Now, to come back to this presentation, as Aziz mentioned, there was a small disappointment. The people in AFRALO was not happy not to have seen Africans selected by ICANN. That is why the task force was created, and we worked, and 3 documents were produced. First was a strategy to stimulate and create awareness. the folder, the little brochure, the flyer, which you can see on the table when you're going out, and this presentation. So, as you know, the non-com has selected 9 people to be able to accede to post ICANN. So there was 3 members of the board of directors for a 3-year term, 3 members of the at-large advisory committee, ALAC, so the end user of internet for 2-year term. So it's 1 member from Africa, 1 from Asia, Australia, Pacific, and 1 member from Latin America, Caribbean region. Non-com will also recruit 2 members, the Council of the Generic Names Supporting Organization for a 2-year term, and 1 member for the Council of the Country Code Names for 3-year term, CCNSO for a 3-year term. So, if you're an African leader with the expertise concerning management, operational management, or governance for great big companies, or if you've got experience in management and you're interested in ICANN, please send your candidature for more information on the skills and competencies which are required. You have the link at the bottom of the page. So you have the link at the bottom of the page. So an African leader with expertise in governance, operational management of big companies, or you have a technical background within that field. If you're an African leader interested in question of internet users or unusers, and if you're also interested in public interest within ICANN, so you can also apply at ALAC, at-large advisory committee for the African, because there's a post, there's a seat available for the Africans. Now, for GNSO. For GNSO, if you are an African leader with expertise in governance, and you've got a technical background, and you work or you're interested in the generic names, you can also apply to become a candidate to become a member of the Council of Generic Names Supporting Organization. And the link is at the bottom of the page. Of course, in the flyer outside, you've got all the information there. And if you go on the website of NOMCOM, you will find all that, all those information. So if you're and if you have also, if you have a background concerning management of CCLAD, and if you're interested by ICANN, you can also apply for that support community for country names code. And you also have the name at the bottom, the link at the bottom of the page. Now, how to apply, how to suggest or propose somebody. NOMCOM is going to let you know when that is open on as from December, when everything is available to. So all candidates should be online, made online, following a wiki system of NOMCOM. If you want to apply yourself, or if you want to propose somebody else, somebody you know, or in whom you trust, who could be a potential candidate, please fill in the online sheet. So fill in the online sheet. So you've got the sheet, the online form. I know it's not very useful because for me to tell you the links, but the flyer is available outside, which will help you to do that. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Johnny. You were very much on time. I really appreciate that. Of course, I'm just a little confused. I don't know what is an African leader, but a leader is a leader anyway. This is one of them. No, he's retired. I think we've reached a very useful and important time. This is time that we would like to open up the mic and hear everybody. But in the process of getting to the mic, I'll ask Pierre to make one or two recognitions.
Thank you, Nino. I just wanted to recognize Elise Gerish, who is around here, and she's from ICANN, and she's VP also, Ayana. So, yeah, Elise, yeah, thanks for coming here. And then, of course, have questions, you can direct them to her also. Thanks. And then, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and our colleagues from the Nomes environment, Daniel is also here, good friend from old time. I see there's a whole bunch of global leaders who are participating with us, and we all recognize and very much welcome. But I still like some people to queue up on the mic, so I'm waiting for that. In the meantime, if I can throw some questions at my colleagues, and I just randomly will ask Aziz, you have 37, somebody's come to the mic, so I shut up.
My name's Douglas Onyango, and I wanted to ask a question regarding the GTLD program. My understanding of the program was it was meant to, among other things, try to help users find content or find their way around the internet a little bit easier. Now, we know how the use of the internet is evolving and how people are finding their ways around the internet. It's moving away from hard-coded addresses and more into the search engine space and then social media. My question is, what is the relevance of the GTLD program with this against this backdrop? Thank you.
Barak.
Thank you, Doc. Mine is just a comment on the IDN. On some of what Yaovi has mentioned, just to say that there's an IDN working group within AFTLD led by Tariq Megani from Sudan, and we've had a lot of participation lately from Masr. They seem to be the only IDN that are passionate, but I also want to point out that there's an issue of translation. It seems English is still the language of business. So there is still an issue of translation of a lot of words that are being used online from the English language to our languages, which is a big challenge. So probably that's one area that we may want to find support and encouragement because the people are on their own. The IDN group is there, but there is very little support. So I think we just need to look at ways of strengthening them and equipping them with tools. But Egypt is already doing something, and I think they've already registered more than 3,000 domains. Thank you.
So is there any more questions? Please queue up. In the meantime, would any of you want to react to these?
Sorry, I don't know whether I the question about the new GTLD and the linkage with the social networks, is that the question? I don't know whether I get it quite well. I just believe that there's a potential here to develop this special domain and these programs from Africa. if you consider, the importance that social networks having in Africa. We do have statistics there that really show the kind of uptake. So which also indicate that at least from Africa, one should be going into this field as well.
Can I clarify the question just one more time?
Okay.
Users are using the internet less using domain names and more through other means. So I'm asking, how relevant is the GTLD program in light of this? It's not an African question, it's a globally GTLD program question. Thank you.
Okay, let's put it this way. Up until now, we've been all satisfied with the URI. So that's why we'll go to all the social networks and we'll drop the information there. I think with some of the new things like trust in the roots, you might find that we'll use the names differently. And you are likely to see that we'll rather take the name and then put these other social network links on them. So it's likely to be a reversal of importance. Meaning today we don't seem to care so much. We use the URI just as it is. But with some of the advancements coming, you may trust your own name better than somebody else's URI, and then might just end up using the names as the place to aggregate all these things. So the jury is still out, but I think there may be some reversals being seen. That's my own opinion on this one. Yes, Yalvi.
Just to add to what Chair said, I think the DTLG is also for innovation. Even if you see a lot of people on social media today, but the social media, there are some companies, people beyond social media. So the point is we need innovation. So something is existing, but people want to create something too. But even the user, he doesn't care about domain names. The person is going to initiate something new, can have a need of a new domain, something new. So that is why the new GTLD program is very relevant. And also part of that one is the IDN. So this is what I want to add to Doctor's answer. Thank you.
Alaji, Mohammed, what is the challenge with the IDN uptake in Africa? If you could come and also share some light, just to draw the community in some more.
Thank you, Chairman. Mohammed from Senegal. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to give a little bit history about the IDN staff, because when people talk about IDN, it's not something that started yesterday or the day before. The first IDN committee have been set up since 2000. So it means the need, and I think that Africa have played a great role with the Francophone agency to push, because there was a need for the African to try to get more content, relevant content on the web. And I think that the two comments that I've heard show also that there is a long path to go. So I can have work in order to, with IETF, to get some standard for the web page. But we know that the need go beyond that one, because they have initiated some IDNA, some protocol have been set up, but people know that there was more need to go to the upper level of the IDN, like making application, like emails and others available in IDN as well. So many communities have started doing well that job. I mean, Chinese, Japanese, and others. And recently, the North Africa also have created their working group. But from my perspective, I mean, what I have learned is we have missed something incredible, is how we're going to catch up to get more content relevant for African in Africa. And this is really the challenge. And we have done some work in the past. I mean, 2005 was was the first international African meeting that we have held in Dakar to gather around us linguists, technologists, typographers, and all these people together in order to see how we're going to help our communities to have their languages and their script on the web. But it's really challenging. It's a huge task. In our own country, everybody is concerned. And we know that if these people, we did not help them create this own community on the web, the challenge of this new GTLD will not be relevant for the African continent. And I think that we also need to play as a team the promotion for GTLD phase 2 threat. The first one is Facebook, the second is Google. All these two are playing a big role trying just to make their house the only house available for everybody. It's not the case. We want our own, and that's really something that people need to really look about it. Because the challenge of Facebook is trying to put all these people in one place, under facebook.com, whether you are individual or business. Google is trying to do the same thing. When it comes to the content, they want everything to be / under YouTube. So it means at the end of the day, you will see no place, no TLDs. You will just see somebody getting his Facebook and his Gmail. Is that what we want? So this is really challenging from ICANN perspective, even from our community perspective, to understand that promoting GTLD is promoting cultural identity, is promoting people to get a choice and show where they are. And this is really what I think going to be our next challenge in the next coming year. So there's a lot of things to do. I mean, the homework is ongoing. We did not help our community get their script on. If you look at how many languages in Africa are on the web, there are very few. Go to Unicode, you will see what I'm talking about. So it's not only about that. Think about Unicode, think about the application, think about how we're going to offer more opportunity on the GTLD for Africa. Thank you.
Think about writing our scripts some more.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My name is Sheon from Nigeria. I just have a question to the VP. I think it was in Singapore. There was a signing of North Africa in Singapore, if I'm correct. However, up to now, at least I like to know what is the status. I understand that there's a process that has been initiated within ICANN to kind of resolve some disputes, etc. What is the status of that, and when are we going to actually see this actually come to reality? Because we thought it was actually, it became a reality in Singapore, but it looks like that is not the case. My second comment is actually in relation to what Douglas was saying, but in a different view. If I go online now, I can easily go to a website, a domain registry, or registrar rather, and I can sign up for .com for as low as maybe $10. However, I can't do same for a country code. There's still a huge difference in cost between for some CCTLDs. There's still a huge difference in cost between CCTLD prices and then GTLD prices. Is there any way ICANN is engaging the CCNSO community perhaps to actually see into this? Is there any charges that ICANN is actually imposing on the CCNSO that is making these things to be expensive? These are some of the things that we need to know. From my own reasoning, I think local should mean cheaper. But the way it is right now, local means more expensive, which does not really promote development of CCTLDs. Thank you.
Greg, go on.
Okay. I will go for French. Ok, merci.
Thank you. I would like to know concerning ICANN events. There's an event called Tech Day. I would have to have more information on this and what is Africans' participation concerning this ICANN event.
Yes, Pierre.
Thank you very much, Sean, for your question on the status, current status of Data Africa. Of course, Data Africa is one of those strings that was requested, and then yes, there was the contract that was signed between ICANN and the requester, actually. But at the same time, what we are actually having now is the kind of dispute resolution process in terms of one party, kind of not happy eventually, and then, and that also was, I mean, it's within the guidebook anyway. So what we are having now is the review process. I mean, the independent, review panel, which is doing its work. And at this point in time, I will say, well, ICANN has no, I will say, definite say. We just wait for the procedure to move on. I think that's what I could say at this point in time. That the procedure is going on. The different parties are communicating with the IRP, and yeah, that's what one can say. I don't think there is much to say at this point in time. And by the way, Data Africa is not the only one that is now, in this procedure. We also have, different other things that are undergoing, kind of same issue. Yeah. I think concerning the tech days, yes, you are right. I noticed that there is not much participation from the African community. And this is led by Dr. Liz from Namibia, whom you certainly know, managing the .NA. So the way you contribute is, of course, be part of they've got a working group on that's organized this thing. And I already said the contact person is Dr. Lise, but we can also provide you with more information. But it's just a pity that we don't have much participation so far from the African community. Yeah, if I understand, well, the question on the CCNSO, the CC being higher, priced than the GTL. Well, I don't think ICANN is in the business of pricing those things. It's the market that actually does those things. It's not about ICANN here.
I will appreciate a few more comments or questions from the audience, because you still have maybe 2-3 minutes left, and I don't want to deny you. You take precedence over the panel anyway. So I'm waiting. You want to make a comment? Information, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. About the IDN program, if you see on the agenda, we say IDN Africa program. The Africa strategy would like also to support on that. So we are glad to know that AFTLD is doing some works. But the point is, in Africa, we know people are participating regarding the Arabic script. The Arabic script. So, but the Latin script, we need new people. So what the program in Africa is trying to do is to support people. So if there are some volunteers, please send email to the addresses we have. And the plan is to support at like 2-3 people, some people, for the next IDN event. So that is what I want to share with you about the IDN program. The outreach about IDN, also to support like 1-2 people for IDN event, especially regarding the Latin script. Thank you.
Yes, Sean, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Okay, this is Sean Thank you for the response. I think it's kind of good information to the community. A lot of people see ICANN playing as a magician by per se, see ICANN to be involved in everything that has to do with names. And that is why I thought it was important to ask that question. And based on your response, which is simply saying CCTLDs should actually have their own business plan. They should actually have a way of making things work in our community. So I believe they are all here, and I believe they will all work at actually finding a solution to this. We need to have value for what we have, and right now I don't think we are gaining much from CCTLDs. My other comment, perhaps it's also a question to the VP, is in relation to the GTLDs that is related to city names. How are you, for instance, .nyc? How are you kind of, so does it mean that if anybody comes up with a name that is related to city name, do you just approve it? I know there is an applicant guidebook too for that, but how do you kind of reconcile those differences? Because I'm sure GAC may not be happy with seeing some of their city names getting taken over. So how do you kind of reconcile on these two things? Or is it just that it's all concerned, it's just the CCTLD that makes the difference between the GTLD? Is it just the CCTLD codes that make the difference? Thank you.
Mark, you have the last comment from the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Back to the IDN issue that Yaovi is raising. Just to propose, I know UNESCO has a number of programs in different African countries to bring local languages to the internet. And in particular in East Africa, I've seen projects where a lot of Swahili, there are websites with the Swahili language online. So the challenge is the community may or may not understand whether this is IDN, because when you say IDN, everybody thinks Arabic. So probably I would propose a more focused approach in partnership probably with organizations like UNESCO, because it is looking beyond the Arabic script to the other local languages to see if we can work with maybe the CCTLDs or the local internet communities to get most of the languages that we are using onto the internet. So that is just a proposal.
Okay, I'd like to find out if my panelists would like to make some brief comments, starting from Bob.
Thank you, Chair. Very quickly, in fact, and I'll focus on the CCTLD issue that Sean is raising. Indeed, this is the biggest challenge for us. When we talk about the DNS market in Africa, of course, we have the GTLD program. But in Africa, we have 54 CCTLDs, so we have 54 choices. And in that space, today we're talking about 1.2 million names. And even out of those 1.2 million names, of course, 900 is from South Africa. So the rest of the African states are barely 200,000 names. Now, pricing is just one element. And of course, we have countries where the price for the CCTLD is actually less than $10, but it's still not being registered. So there's a question of automation, for example. How easy is it for you to register a CCTLD vis-a-vis registering a GTLD? And that is a national problem for each and every CCTLD. The other issue is about awareness. Like I mentioned, everybody who comes to register a name in our continent assumes that every name is .com. So what role are we playing, not only as the CCTLDs and registrars in Africa, to also highlight these other possibilities, including GTLDs, so that a client is aware about the possibilities. And of course, the other issue is about security. You see, for me to have trust in a name, I have to be assured of its operations and that. So we have to, as a team, solve all these issues. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry for cutting you, but we had to move on. Aziz, very brief.
Thank you. So I will agree with Muhammad regarding the new GTLDs versus social media. You know, Mr. Chair, it is not a matter of trust, since on the social media you don't have any trust, any privacy, nothing. You are on the road. So it is not a matter of trust. It is when on the social media you will get the information, but if you want details, you have to go on the website. Other thing, the promotion of the new GTLD program is very important, is key. I think that ICANN has to do something special for that. And also, ICANN should do something to make the poor communities and also the developing economies to have their chance or their opportunity to have their own string. And this cannot be done if we don't do special measures, special program for that. We have proposed a dedicated round, but I don't know if it will be done. But this is something key. If we don't do that, you will not see, you will see only North American and European strings and no one from developing economy, no one from the communities. Thank you.
In French.
Yes, I would like to come back to Sans comments concerning the CCTLD, concerning the management of CCTLD. In my country, for example, Morocco, the request takes a lot of time for a GTLD. So it's an effort to be done in Africa on the prices and also on the management of the CCTLD. Concerning the GTLD, the program has presented the people that are quite reluctant, but I invite them to watch the number of requests that have been made. It means that it's a big business and there is money inside. So there is a future. Here also at the African level, there are only 17 requests only, applications only. They all come from South Africa. So here also we must make an effort. I would like to add by what has been presented by Jali and myself on the presence of Africans in ICANN structures. We need competencies and skills that corresponds to the profile that is needed in the different structures to be present and to know what is happening and to report locally at this country's or regional level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Nous reconnaissons qu'il y a beaucoup de projets, d'initiatives sur les contenus locaux et les langues locales. Ce n'est pas ici le point. Nous voulons que le contenu soit accessible à travers des noms c'est un travail parallèle qu'il faudrait faire par rapport au nom du domaine en soi, en utilisant la langue locale. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Je pense que nous devons revenir selon nos plans. J'aimerais demander à Pierre Jamin de faire quelques remarques de clôture. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je pense qu'une des questions, bien sûr, le guide africain a quelques éléments qui répondent à votre question. concernant le livret. Oui, il y a des provisions faites pour certains noms de réserve. J'ai aussi compris que dans certains pays, tout le programme concerne des débats au niveau national. Et les personnes travaillent toujours pour avoir le propre liste de noms. Et cela, la question pourrait être résolue. Maintenant, peut-être, je vous laisse peut-être vous remercier, tous vous remercier. Cette session était faite pour un partage d'informations, éclaircir et mieux communiquer sur la stratégie africaine. La stratégie africaine est une question de voir comment s'engager sous une nouvelle forme pour engager les parties prenantes et améliorer leur participation. C'est ce que nous essayons de faire, en tout cas. Bien sûr, nous avons ce projet qui a été soulevé. Nous pensons aussi que nous devons aussi construire des partenaires stratégiques si vous voulez vraiment avoir un grand impact. Et comment faire pour aller de l'avant. Et nous, vraiment, nous réussissons de pouvoir travailler avec vous dans le futur. Peut-être nous ne communiquons pas assez bien. Nous avons un site web, bien sûr. Nous devons converser un peu plus. Peut-être nous allons améliorer et faire un peu plus. Sur ce, je pense que c'est tout ce que j'avais à dire maintenant. Merci encore une fois pour venir. Merci beaucoup. Applaudissons-les tous. Merci. Nous sommes à la fin de cette session. Personnellement, je pense que c'est vraiment super de partager, de venir aussitôt. J'aimerais demander de clôturer la session. Merci beaucoup.